Hello, friends. I'm your host, Joel Sedo of Reflection for Life podcast. Welcome back to Tomb or Tale. In this episode 6, the Master appears from the empty tomb to the locked room. We journey back to the morning of the resurrection. To that moment when two of Jesus' disciples ran to the tomb, searching for their master, and what followed changed the course of history forever. Scene 1. The empty tomb. It was early morning. The sun was just breaking through the shadows of dawn. Mary Magdalene had come running, breathless, telling Peter and John, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him." John 22. So the two apostles ran. Peter the elder, strong yet weighed by guilt from denying his master. John, the beloved disciple, young, fast, and full of hope. They reached the tomb. John arrived first, but he hesitated. He looked inside, saw the linen cloths lying there. Peter, however, went straight in. The body was gone. The tomb was empty. Scene 2. The mysterious man. Now imagine this. As they stepped away, confused and silent, from the nearby olive bush, a man's voice gently called out, "Whom are you looking for?" The disciples turned, startled. They didn't recognize him. His appearance was humble, ordinary, as though he were just a gardener. But his eyes, deep, full of compassion, searched their souls. "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen." Luke 24:5-6. And then, as suddenly as he appeared, he was gone. The two stood in awe, part fear, part wonder, realizing that heaven had just whispered to earth. Scene 3. The little room of fear. That same evening, the disciples were gathered in a small upper room. The doors were locked. Fear filled the air, fear of persecution, fear of the unknown, fear that everything they had lived for was over. They had heard stories. The tomb was empty. Some claimed to have seen angels. But could it be true? could the Master truly be alive? And then, without warning, a familiar presence filled the room. Peace be with you. Every head turned. The same Jesus who was nailed to the cross stood before them, radiant, calm, alive. He showed them his hands and his side, the marks of love that conquered death. Their fear melted into joy. Their doubt turned into faith. Scene 4. Reflection. Why did Jesus appear this way? Why first at the tomb, then in that small fearful room? Because he wanted his followers to see that life conquers death, that hope rises from despair, and that peace enters even the most locked hearts. He met them where they were, in their confusion, their doubt, their hiding, and turned their fear into mission. And from that locked room, the gospel began to spread to the ends of the earth. At only 33 years old, Jesus' earthly life ended, but his eternal purpose began. He rose not only to prove his divinity, but to give humanity a new beginning. In closing, today, we too may find ourselves standing at our own tombs, places of loss, silence or fear. But remember, the risen Lord still calls out, "Peace be with you." He still meets us, not in grand temples or mighty thrones, but in quiet rooms of our hearts when we let him in. This has been Tomb or Tale. The Master appears from the empty tomb to the locked room. Join us next time as we reflect on how the risen Christ transformed ordinary lives into extraordinary witnesses. Until then, may his peace be with you always. Thank you.